Hey, what's going on there, folks? Good evening. It is the Earthmaster back here on this Friday night. Party night. Not really. Got a barbecue going on out here in Northern Cal, but that's about it. No parties here at the Earthmaster Ranch. Looks like it is about 10:16 p.m. here. March 3rd, 2023. Latest earthquake shows a looks like a 1.2 here in the area of California. Looking at the latest earthquake activity here on the globe, shows some scattered activity across the entire Pacific plate. Let's go ahead and check out some details out here with the latest USGS map here. A little bit of activity kicking up here along the west coast of California, including one earthquake here around the Bay Area, 1.3 at 12.3 kilometers deep. Definitely not a big earthquake, but seeing a little sign of seismic uptick here across the Northern California and the West Coast area. Did have an earthquake up here northwest of Mount Shasta. Beautiful volcano up here where I live. I can see it covered in snow. It's been one of those years here, a great winter for snow accumulation out there in the mountains. 2.2, again, northwest of Mount Shasta. 4.6 kilometers deep. Nothing going on there as far as volcanic activity. The rest of Northern California, aside from the Clear Lake volcanic field, activity kept at a minimal. We got one earthquake, a 1.7 near the St. Helena area. That is north of the Bay, north of Napa, just off of the St. Helena area. Further down south into the Ridgecrest area, getting a little bit of activity here lighten up within the last hour. Looks like a couple ones kicking up, nothing major. Looking at the 2.5 map and above, you can see the west coast is clear as a bell. In fact, the states are when it comes to 2.5 and above. But eventually, that's bound to change here along the west coast. But for now, we are seeing some microquake activity up there in the Northern California. We have seen a slight uptick in movement across the fault systems just west here of the San Andreas Fault, and I'm talking about the San Jacinto Fault Zone down here. Now, these are not any, again, not anything above 2.5, but a noticeable increase in activity across the entire length, for the most part, across the San Jacinto Fault Zone. And that's secondary of the San Andreas Fault here when it comes to accumulated stress. The main plate boundary, of course, is the San Andreas Fault system here that runs along this area. And the dark red line, there's numerous fault systems that run parallel with it, but the Elsinore and the San Jacinto Fault Zone are some major players there in accumulating stress across this area of the Pacific Plate. Anything east here of the red line is the North American Plate. A little bit of activity here across the Brawley seismic zone. Nothing major going on. One earthquake out, looks like on the Brawley seismic zone there. But the San Andreas Fault for itself, quiet for now. Let's let it sleep, right? We don't want to wake that thing up. That would not be good here for California. But again, watch this area, folks, and I keep mentioning this. We've seen a lot of rainfall across the California area, and Southern California included. And it takes a little while for the accumulated rainfall to soak down into some of these faults and into some of these plate fault systems that have been building up stress for many, many years. And if you think about it, adding a little bit of lubrication out here along the west coast could get the ball rolling in terms of seeing some larger scale activity out here. So we'll continue to watch over the next days or next couple weeks and next couple months here for some further large scale movement out in the west coast area. Let's see, Oklahoma, not a whole lot going on out there. We got one earthquake in the New Madrid seismic zone. The most recent quake here in this area shows south of the OKC area, 1.9. Blanchard area, looks like, 3.1 kilometers deep. Well, there you go. North Dibble oil field. I was just going to mention about this, but I guess I don't need to because it's already written on the map. There's quite a bit of oil fields out here. But the vegetation and the topography here of the map shows a lot of camouflage, so to speak. But there is, it kind of looks like there may be some type of oil pumping operation out here just north of this earthquake that struck there in the Oklahoma area. But obviously, it's within quite a few regions of oil pumping operations and wastewater disposal wells. There in the beautiful state of Oklahoma. What do we got here across the Puerto Rico region? It looks like one earthquake here. We got a 4.4 in the Mona Seamount area. 28 kilometers deep. Let's see, and there's a swarm of activity here. It looks like confined specifically here around this region of the Puerto Rico Trench. Mostly looks like some 3s and even a 4.0 coming in at variable depths throughout the last 24 hours. Most of that this evening time period. So continue to watch this area of the Puerto Rico Trench. It is a major region here for some large-scale earthquake activity. It does have the potential up here around the Puerto Rico Trench, so watch that pretty closely. Further down south, we've got one earthquake here in the Venezuela area. Looks like that one coming in just about noontime, a 4.6. Very shallow earthquake, 6 kilometers deep. And let me look at the earthquake 3D globe here, see what we got for activity here across the region. Venezuela, it looks like that's about the only earthquake here in this area. Most of the movement has been down south here into the Peru-Chile Trench, where we're seeing a swarm of deeper earthquake activity. The deeper earthquake activity is the rings here raised off of the globe. Shallower earthquake activity confined to the surface here on the globe. But there's definitely a pretty good uptick in movement here across the area today. Looks like the largest so far, a 4.6. 33 kilometers there into the Peru-Chile Trench, right in the Peru area. All right, up into Alaska, things kind of lighten up here as well, into the Gulf and into portions here along the North American side of the plate boundary. The plate boundary, of course, sits here in this red line. Got one earthquake here, 2.1, coming into the Covenant Life. The Covenant Life, all right, Alaska, 17 kilometers deep. And some other earthquake activity here scattered out and about across Alaska right now. Lighten up across a good portion of the Cook Inlet area. And we did have a 4.0 early this morning. It looks like right after midnight across there. But notice this swarm of activity stretching across the Aleutian Trench. That's an obvious sign here of some northern Pacific plate adjustment here. And that's kind of kicking up. Looking like things may be ramping up and pushing off to the northwest. Rat Islands area did see a 4.0. Let me bring up here the general plate movement here, folks, real quick. General plate movement. Stand by here for just a second while I show you guys. The general plate movement map here is a very good map to study when it comes to plate tectonics. This shows the arrows here are pointing towards the general direction that this Pacific plate is moving in relation to all the other plates here on this planet on a flat scale map. I'm not saying the Earth is flat, but this is just in general of what's going on out here. And we've seen that earthquake activity kind of stretching across the Alaska region, working its way westward along the Aleutian Trench area. And that would make sense here with the general direction of these arrows. Notice that coming down from the northeast direction, and these folks, or at least this plate boundary here, heading off to the northwest. Heading off to the northwest, coming from the southeast. So that would obviously push the motion further along the plate boundary towards the Aleutian Trench and the Kuril-Kamchatka Trench, which is it's refusing to budge. It's obviously it's been building up strain here for quite a while, but I don't know if it's at its breaking point or not. There's definitely quite a bit of accumulated slip rate here that's been ongoing for a few years. And I think we're got to be primed here at least for some larger scale activity. I think it's just a matter of time here, folks, that we're seeing that, maybe seeing that mega quake happen across the Kuril-Kamchatka Trench. Continue to watch that. For now, it looks relatively quiet. We did have one earthquake here around the Kuril Islands, roughly at the southern end of the Kuril-Kamchatka Trench, 176 kilometers deep. That's one thing that we've noticed. Deeper earthquake movement occurring with no subsequent surface activity. And that tells me right there that it's winding up. We're getting wound up here, so to speak, of the spring of tension across this area. And it's a major subduction zone, folks. This area is larger than the entire West Coast region of California, and Oregon, and Nevada, and Washington. So it's there. I'm just really surprised we haven't seen anything pop up there recently. All right, let's see what else we got. Volcano Islands, Japan region. That's in the portion of the northern end of the Mariana Trench, 73 kilometers deep here into the subduction zone. All right, down south, looking at a little bit of activity kicking up here around New Zealand. Did have a 5.0 Kermadec Trench. Early this morning, we had a 4.2, 337 kilometers deep into the, I'm wanting to say this is a portion of the northern end of the Hikurangi subduction zone. This is another major subduction zone area here for New Zealand. Not quite as big, obviously, as the subduction zones here in the Kuril-Kamchatka Trench and other areas, right? It's a very small subduction zone area. But the Kermadec Trench north were a major player, right, in subduction zone activity. But, man, there's a lot of uncertainty onto historical data when it comes to when the last mega quake happened out here in New Zealand. I know we get some earthquakes around Christchurch. You know, they had a large one here quite a few years ago. The Wellington area, the Cook Strait area, seen a 5.7 here over the past 30 days. But we're talking about, you know, life-changing mega quake out here across New Zealand. And there's a lot of uncertainty as to when the last one was. But we know it's there. The Hikurangi is a subduction zone, and it's accumulating stress. It's just a matter of time before we see this zone rip off with a mega quake above 8.0. And the deeper earthquake activity tells us that this region is still very active. That's 337 kilometers deep, folks, underneath the Bay of Plenty area. Let me see what's going on out here across the GeoNet servers. Give a real quick glance here across New Zealand for that specific earthquake. That was way this morning. Definitely much earlier this morning. There's a 5.4 into the Kermadec Trench area, but the one that we're looking for here is this one right here, the 4.3, I believe. Shows 500 kilometers deep. That's exceptionally deep here across the area. And obviously some other earthquake activity across the afternoon and evening time period. Let me see what we got here for earthquake drums and kind of get a better perception of things. There's some of that activity from earlier this morning and the afternoon time period. Seen some other activity out here too. Some 2s and 1s looking like on the North Island side of the drums. Obviously the largest one out here, right? You guys see that? It's listed across all of these seismograph stations. And that one obviously is going to be the much stronger one. Let's see here. Let me see exactly where that was. Is that going to be the 4.5? Hold on a second here. It's not going to be the 5.4, I don't think. And then again, maybe not. Let me 760 kilometers north. That's a ways away from here. Stand by for a second here. Let me see what we got. Earthquake drums. So that's going to be this earthquake that struck a good amount of time ago. Talking about probably 14 hours or so ago on the UTC time scale. So we're looking at probably, well, there we go. That's going to be that 4.5 that showed up there. South Island, New Zealand area. 13 hours ago. But either way, you know, it's just good to be on guard out there around New Zealand. There's a lot that can take place. And the Hikurangi subduction zone is not the only worrisome area out there across New Zealand. There's a couple other fault systems here. Plate boundary, of course, the Alpine Fault, major strike-slip fault system that runs out here along the western side of the South Island, New Zealand area. That plays another part in damaging earthquakes across the area. But we live on a very active and a live planet, so plate tectonics definitely keep this planet moving. 4.6 Uganda area coming in within the last hour. The rift zone, right? This is a rift zone out here across South Africa. I think we studied this here a couple videos back. Let's see what we got for the last 30 days of earthquake activity. There's been a number of earthquakes out here, but specifically around this rift zone, which is basically a separation here of the plate. That eventually you're going to have a nice little gap here across South Africa, or across the African continent. 4.6, 10 kilometers deep there. Goodness. All right, let's see what else we have here. I know we're kind of all over the place, scattered and about like a jigsaw puzzle, but pretty much if you look at this whole plate tectonic map, we are just a jigsaw puzzle. Let me bring down these magnitudes, I should say, just a tad bit. See what we got going on here for earthquake activity. There's a fairly new earthquake, 4.0 Aleutian Trench. We did see that one. Let's see. I'm trying to think if there's anything else we missed out on. Turkey earthquake activity has been toning down. Obviously, there's going to be some 2s, 1s, and 3s for the coming weeks and months, if not years. But let's see here. I'm trying to think. There's a little bit of deeper movement up here around Tonga. Let's see what we got up here. I'm just kind of looking. Did see a 4.5, 259 kilometers deep. A couple earthquakes here in the deep trench area of the Tonga area. A little bit of bouncing back and forth here between the New Zealand area and deeper movement up north. That could spell a little bit of uptick potential across the Kermadec Trench southward into New Zealand. So we'll keep an eye on that area. All right, let me check the tremor map here tonight and see what we got going on. Again, second night with no tremor. This was yesterday, 0 tremor. Tonight, no tremor. What's going on? That is due to for the most part, the general westward plate movement out here, kind of easing things off here along the west coast and the eastern portion of the Pacific plate. Not entirely. There's always going to be earthquake activity out here, but it seems as though we're still looking at the general relief out here along the eastern Pacific that this area sees when other areas are active. Let's see what we got here for Yellowstone National Park. It is a super volcano in Wyoming. And for the most part, looks fairly quiet. Only a handful of quakes here. Noticing the red spikes. Very small earthquakes, below probably 1.0 in the Yellowstone area. All right, space weather activity. Things kind of coming up once again. We did have a X 2.0 from our departing sunspot, 3234. So long, friend. Been pretty active. But I guess it decided to give us a departing shot. See ya, right? That is the second strongest flare of the solar cycle 25. Not Earth directed, and I don't believe we're going to see anything geo-effective from that storm. It did produce a little CME from that eruption there, from the X flare. Again, it was centered a ways away from Earth, but the general planet direction and the rotation here of the sun will maybe possibly give us a little glancing blow. Just little. I don't think so, but that's kind of what they're forecasting here from that CME eruption, which is from the sunspot. But looking at the general sunspots here that are facing the Earth, there's numerous sunspots, but they're not looking all that promising. Maybe, potentially, the sunspot right here does have a little bit of dynamic around it, and also down south here. But so far, I'm not really impressed with the imagery from that magnetic structure of those sunspots. So over the next couple nights here, March 5th, March 6th time frame, we could be looking at some elevated conditions, possibly G1 storming conditions with a KP index between 4 and 5. That just means that higher latitude storming possibilities could persist or happen, I should say. But we're not looking at any major aurora forecasts here for the northern tier states of the United States. Most of the activity will be confined up north into Canada and the higher regions there, higher latitudes. Current aurora forecast here shows a little bit of unsettled conditions across the Canada and Alaska area for now. Numerous sunspots, as mentioned. The most possibility that we're seeing any chance of flaring activity is coming from 3234, which harbors a beta gamma delta class, which is a fairly dynamic sunspot that poses X flare risk, which is why it's elevated to 15% chance. But again, 3234, it's pretty much saying see ya. It's well on here on the northwestern side of the sun. All right, quick glance here at the weather forecast here for the West Coast regions in California. I know we're winter has been holding on pretty steady out here along California and the Pacific Northwest. We got another storm system coming in tomorrow, bringing in heavy-duty snow into the Coast Range, low-elevation snow as well into the Sierra Nevada. Rain here for the valley, and that's going to persist over the next couple days with off and on rain and snow showers. Even some potential. This is kind of interesting here. We're seeing snow down to around the Chico area once again. We'll see if that rings true or not. Looks like maybe on Wednesday, Tuesday night, Wednesday. But either way, quite a bit of moisture coming back into the West Coast area as we put this into motion. And Southern California, let's see what we got here for Southern California area. They will be getting a little bit of moisture from the storm system, a little bit dry though, once it hits down to the Southern Cal area. Far as any major West Coast significant precipitation amount system, I'm not seeing it yet. But this only goes out to about March 20th. And if we look at the total accumulated precipitation amounts out here, these are it. Southern California is still getting a little bit, but not as sufficient as a couple of these other storms have been. But man, goodness, tremendous amount of snow into the mountain ranges. And this is pretty good for the reservoirs, the aquifers and whatnot. Central and northern Sacramento valleys look like we could be picking up anywhere between an inch and an inch or two of rain over the next couple weeks. So any additional rainfall I would consider out here along the West Coast is beneficial to our drought situation for sure. All right, volcano hazards. Doesn't look like we're seeing any major uptick out here. No major changes. Still got the Great Sitkin area. Seeing some uptick. The last update here, weekly update, was put out today, actually. Slow eruption of lava likely continues. Seismicity at very low levels. This is kind of an ongoing thing, off and on, with this volcano there in Alaska. But no major change as far as any major eruption that's occurring with this specific volcano up there in Alaska. Alrighty, folks, I got to jump off and see if my barbecue is done. I've been slow cooking some chicken and a huge, big old huge pork roast. Should come out pretty good. Welcome to all the new members out here, new subscribers. We've gained like 3,000 subscribers over the past 30 days. I was just looking at that. Quite impressive. So definitely a big shout out to the subscribers out here. We're also going to be adding here a new merchandise feature. Right now I'm using Teespring or Spring that manages our merchandise, far as sweaters, t-shirts and stuff like that, coffee mugs. But I'm looking into something different, a little bit more quality-wise here in the future when it comes to the Earthmaster store. So we'll be adding that on pretty soon. Looking into a couple different options right now because I definitely like the Earthmaster merchandise that's being created, but the company we're using right now, which is Spring, is a little bit on the slow side and questionable side when it comes to business perspectives. I don't know what's going on with them lately, but we're looking around for something different when it comes to doing our designs and printing out some cool Earthmaster merchandise stuff. And also, we're coming up to a new month here in about 12 days or so. We'll be giving away some more prizes here for our members. And to be a member here on this channel, make sure you click that join button. And we'll be giving away prizes here on the 15th. We'll do a random drawing for the members only. We are coming up really close, folks, here to the 100,000 subscriber giveaway. Let me look where we're at here real quick. We're above 90,000. Goodness. Stand by here for just a second. Let me see where we're at. We are at 90,982. So literally, we are at almost 91,000 subscribers. Did you guys hear that? We are only like 9,000 away from the 100,000 subscriber giveaway, and that's going to be a big, huge event. I'm looking forward to that because I've been collecting quite a few prizes to give away over the past year or so. We'll be giving away prizes to 10 people, and that's just not to the members. That's to all the subscribers out here. Every single subscriber out here that wants to join and enter will be entered into that drawing, and obviously will be held live. And 10 people will be getting some prizes. So still in the mix onto exactly what the main prizes are going to be and what the stages are going to be. I'd like to give away some high quality prizes to at least the top 3. And then some other prizes as well for the remainder of the winners. But goodness, it's gonna be a fun one. I'm gonna make it a big deal. That's for sure. We're definitely make it a big deal here on this channel. So we'll see what it is, right? Maybe we'll just give away $100 to every single winner and more. Who knows? We'll definitely provide updates as we get closer, but we're only literally 9,000 away, And this month, folks, let me check here. This month, we over the last 28 days, I'm looking at my subs or my analytics. We gained 3,000 subscribers in 30 days. So at that rate, 369, we could be easily at 100,000 subscribers by summer. So that's pretty awesome. I'm pretty happy about that, and I do want to give a shout out to everyone out there for making that happen. Definitely do appreciate it. And I want to give away some stuff. You guys know me. I give away random stuff. It doesn't matter if it's $50 gift card or whatever, but I really want to give away some stuff to 10 different people out there. So we'll make that happen at the 100,000 subscriber giveaway level. By the way, the seismograph stations there, I switched up New Zealand. I did have a station there in New Zealand. I changed that over to Black Stump Farm. That is into the New Zealand area. Just for the New Zealand folks here, Black Stump Farm on the live seismographs are the newest Webby quarter there on the live stream on the live seismographs. Just FYI, because I was having a little bit of issue earlier. There was some type of wavy pattern going on across the New Zealand, the other station I was using, so it wasn't quite accurate. So Black Stump Farm is the it's going to be this one where it looks like maybe an earthquake's coming in right now. So, goodness, hold on a second. What's going on out there in New Zealand? Just happened to mention about it, and we're getting some stuff popping up there right now. I don't know if it's a big earthquake or what. What do we got? There we go, 4.0. You guys see it? 4.0 New Zealand area, and that is showing up on the Black Stump Farm seismograph station, which is let me get this back going here, right here, right where the hand is, picking up that 4.0 pretty nicely there at Black Stump Farm. And let's see what we got here for a little bit of data. 4.0, 58 kilometers deep. Looks like it is right around the Cook Strait area. Oh, no, take that back up. Excuse me. North Island, New Zealand area. Yeah, just north of where that deeper earthquake activity occurred here. With that 4.2 being a very deep earthquake. So yeah, gotta watch the Hikurangi subduction zone, folks. I mean, it's this. You just never know. You just never know when that thing's gonna pop. It is a major hazard out there for New Zealand. That's no joke. If you live out there in New Zealand and you don't know about the Hikurangi subduction zone, I suggest you look into it. It's a big deal. It's kind of like the Cascadia subduction zone here along the Pacific Northwest of the state. So jump in on it. Look it up. A lot of information on it. But we just don't know exactly when that last earthquake that happened was out here. So, all right, folks, stay safe. New Zealand, stay safe. 4.0 coming in, New Zealand area. We'll catch you guys a little bit later on.